Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be pretty quick. It's going to be a tutorial on how exactly to buy agency bonds here on Charles Schwab. Now, I did a video on what agency bonds are just a few weeks ago, so click the link in the top right corner of your screen right now. If you didn't watch that one, it's certainly worth watching, as these agency bonds are currently producing higher yields than treasuries. There's just a little bit more uncertainty as to when you will get your money back. But if you have cash around that you don't really need right now and you don't care exactly when it's going to be returned, then these are a great option for you. Now, once you've logged into Charles Schwab, the first thing that you're going to do is hover over this trade icon and then click the bonds button. That will take you to this page right here that shows you the current returning rates for a various types of bonds. But today we're going to be focusing once again on this row right here that says government agencies. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, these are not bonds that are offered on the Treasury Direct website that I know of. So you're going to have to purchase them on a secondary sort of brokerage. In this case, I'm using Charles Schwab, but they're also offered on things like Fidelity as well as Vanguard. Number two, and the reason that I think more people need to pay attention to these is the fact that they are returning more than US Treasuries in various categories. For example, with the 2-year, US Treasuries sit around 5%, and the government agencies are well over 5%, closer to 5.5%. Another thing to keep in mind with these government agency bonds, and I talked about this a lot in the video that I made, so once again, please go and watch that so you can understand these better, but they are likely not going to go to maturity. They're going to be called as the general economic conditions change. So even if you buy, say, a 20-year government agency bond, the chances of it actually going all the way to maturity at 20 years is, in my opinion, very close to zero. So if I were going about buying government agency bonds, I would just choose the one that has the highest interest rate. So for today's video, we're going to be demonstrating it with a 20-year bond. So we'll go ahead and click this button for the 6.17%. Once we've gotten to this page, we see a couple of very important things. The first thing is our yield to maturity. That is sort of the expected annualized interest rate, as well as YTW, which stands for yield to worst. This, in simple terms, is the worst case scenario, the lowest possible annualized percentage that you'll be paid by these bonds. There's also going to be a YTC, which stands for yield to call. That is not shown on this page, but that would be the yield that you'll be paid when it is called. So once again, the most important thing with these is going to be the callable date. So let's go ahead and click on this first one, paying out roughly 6.15% yearly, and check its callability. Now, once we go ahead and click on this security, it will pop up this page right here. And I want to focus on what is on the bottom left portion of your screen with the call details. You can see here that the bond begins to be callable monthly starting May 16th, 2024. Now, obviously, this bond was not called on May 16th. I'm recording this on May 26th. However, once again, it can be called monthly. Here's the schedule. So for the 16th of every month, all the way until 2044, they can call this bond and stop paying out interest payments. Now, again, I don't think that any of these agency bonds are going to make it anywhere close to 2044, but let's have a look at another option. If you're wanting the bond to last a little bit longer, you may want to choose one that is callable in the more far future. So let's click on, say, this one that's paying out closer to 6% versus 6.15. But when we go ahead and click on it, scroll down, you can see that this one cannot be called until at least August 26th, meaning for the next 3 or 4 months, you're going to be getting your interest. Now, some of these go even farther into the future. For example, this one is only paying out 5.79%. I would argue, however, that 5.8% is a very, very good rate, and it doesn't even begin to be callable until February of next year, meaning you're going to get around 8 months of interest payments guaranteed. Now, due to some unfortunate timing of this video recording, I'm actually recording it on a Sunday, and tomorrow is a federal holiday, meaning the bond market is not open on Schwab for me to view today. But if it were, you would click on the Buy Now button that would be right next to View Disclosure. Now, I've got a couple of screenshots to show you of what things would look like next, so don't pay attention to the exact date or things like that, but the general concept would be the same. It would pop up this on your screen right now, showing you the bond with its price, its yield to maturity, as well as yield to worst. Keep in mind, you cannot actually change any of these things on the bottom of your screen with the order type or the timing, but what you can change is the amount that you wish to purchase. Keep in mind, if you put a 1 here, it will be for $1,000, not for $100 or for $1. So don't type in 100 here unless you want to buy $100,000 worth of bonds. But next up, you're just going to go ahead and click this review order button. Once you've done that, it'll pop up this on your screen right now. Basically, all this is doing is confirming that you're okay with it being callable. You don't really have another choice when you're buying agency bonds. So go ahead and just click the green continue button. And finally, it will bring you to this screen right here. Again, just confirming your details, showing you how often you will actually be paid or your coupon frequency, as well as your final cost. One important thing to keep in mind, if it's a newly issued bond, it will have a $0 transaction fee. But if it is an older actual secondary market bond, there could be a transaction fee associated of around $10. Finally though, you'll click the last green place order button and this process is complete. I hope you went on to enjoy today's video and that your mind was enlightened to the power of these agency bonds. Once again, go back and watch the previous video if you don't know a whole lot about these. If you have any more questions about agency bonds themselves or the process of buying agency bonds on Charles Schwab, go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. But other than that, we'll see you in the next one.